Hi everyone, it's Karen here with a mixed media art journaling page created for the 7 Dot Studios Dream Challenge. Enjoy! This page was done in my Dylusions journal again, and I used the 7 Dot Studio Dreamscapes collection, which is a new collection. This is the Narwhal paper, and I cut it and measured it exactly to fit my art journal for the background. This page is unusual for me because it didn't happen the way I wanted it to be. I had an idea in my head to create it a certain way, and then it took a completely different form and went in a completely different direction, which I think fit my theme perfectly, because the theme of this challenge for this month is dreams, about our dreams, our aspirations, and everything. But I just felt like this page was created in a dream, that it was basically done without me even thinking about it, and just intuitively it came out, even though it wasn't the idea that I had originally, which makes me feel that I really want to encourage people with this page, and I will show you why later on, how no matter what, you should really try and create whatever comes to your heart and to your soul, and just let sometimes the page take you, and don't plan so much, no perfection, because what you really need in mixed media, there is no perfection in mixed media. You just experiment, especially if you're doing an art journal, which is what the art journal is for, is to experiment. Here I am taking the paper after I cut it, and I took some 3D matte gel medium from Prima Finnabair, and I'm just gluing it to the background. It's really important for me to convey to people everywhere that they should experiment and let go of their fears of making mistakes in your art, because there's really no mistakes when you're creating. And this is one of the main things that I wanted to convey in this video specifically, because it has happened to me quite a few times in the past little while where I tried to do a certain technique, experiment a certain way, and then it completely went in a different direction than what I wanted it to be, and it turned out even better. So I just want to see, while I'm going through this particular experiment with you, that you will just do the same thing and just try, because you can't go wrong. It's just a piece of paper that you're ruining if it really does go wrong, which really it never does, because you can actually always fix or turn something into something more beautiful. I could have used soft matte gel to glue the paper, but because I wanted to create this technique with the thick 3D gel, I just used the same one, because you could use 3D gel to glue papers as well. So what I did is I took the 3D gel and I added a very thick layer on top of half of my page on both sides. And I just used my silicone brush, which is a really good tool to put everything very smoothly on a paper. You could also use a palette knife in this case, but the silicone brush is just softer. And as usual, I'm putting all the supplies in the description area below in this video, so in case you want to see which ones they are, how to use them, they are there with the links for you. The original idea was to do stamping into the gel. I've done this before where I've stamped into the gel, and that was my original idea. The way that I have been experimenting with the modeling paste in the past few videos, which I'm linking here below one of them so you can see what I mean. I've been experimenting with modeling paste stamping, but this was, I wanted to stamp into thick gel. Here I'm just sealing the bottom page with a little bit of gel just to protect it, but the main area that I wanted to work with was the top, and to actually stamp in it, but it needed to be dry, so I let it dry for a while to make sure that it was dry to the touch, and then I wanted to go in with my stamp. However, it didn't work. Somehow, even though I've done this in the past, when I tried to stamp in this gel, it somehow did not work the way, even though I have used the same gel before and it has worked. And I'm also linking that above so you can see. But I just dried it, and you can see it's a little bit more dry, kind of dry to the touch, and I experimented and tried to stamp, and it just didn't work, and I didn't know what else to do. So I decided to leave it for a little bit and then try something else. I took a little bit of a toothpick, a large stick, and I started peeling some of the gel off to see what it would happen, and it started kind of creating this really cool peeled effect in my background. And I thought, oh, this is interesting, I like this, let me try and do this. And I apologize for sometimes my head is going into the shot. I didn't mean that. I couldn't see that when I was doing it. So I took my wooden pick and I started pushing some of the gel out to create these really cool ripped off pieces onto the gel background. And I thought that was really nice, and I felt like that was what I was supposed to do, and it just changed directions from here on. And this is one of my favorite pages, even though I didn't really plan to do it this way. I let this dry now a little bit more for a few hours while I was doing something else. Well, actually I went for lunch with my husband, so that was really nice. And then I came back and I took the Hazy Days stamp from the new collection from 7 Dot Studios, and then I took archival ink in the sienna color and just started adding some texture to the background on top of the gel. It's stamped really beautifully on top of the gel, and this stamp looks like little splatters, so that's exactly what I was creating in the background. Then I took another stamp, and this is that big circle kind of splatter, and I created the same thing. I used it to create some splatters in the background, but they're stamped splatters, just to add a little bit of interest to my page. And I had to press really hard to just do it because the gel, I wanted to create a full image, so I pressed really hard with my fingers, and it created these really nice circular splatters. Then I took some black archival ink and I took another little stamp from that set, which looks like staples, and I just added on the border and the break between the two lines, I created some staple marks. I really love this stamp specifically because it's really cool to create these staple marks without having to staple it, and it gives it that kind of distressed look. Then finally I took a tiny little stamp that also had some splatter looking dots, and using the black archival ink I created some black dots around the page. At this point I didn't know what to do with the ripped areas on my background. I just basically had to let my intuition guide me and really see where things were taking me, and I thought of alcohol inks, which I really wanted to create this really nice rusty looking old peeled paints kind of effect. So I took butterscotch and caramel colors from alcohol inks, and I started going around the little ripped areas and letting them drip down to make it look as if it's rusted. Then, to add some more interest inside those rusted areas, those peeled areas, I took some 7 Dot Studios Dreamscapes stickers, and there were some circles that I cut up, and then I just started adding them underneath the ripped areas to make it look as if the circle is coming from inside underneath the page. I also added some more stickers in some other areas around the page, at the bottom of my page, inside the stamped areas that I had done at the bottom. I also use the alcohol inks to create some splatters in the background, and these are perfect for doing that, as the containers are really good to do some drips. Finally, I felt like I needed a darker alcohol ink to around the edges, so I took a new one that I bought. It's called Teakwood, and this one really created a kind of faux burnt edges. And I don't know how to explain it. It's something that I learned actually from Miranda Edney when she showed us how to create faux edges to make them look as if they're burnt, and it actually really worked. And I put them all around the edges and let them drip, and it really, the color looks really good when it's mixed with the other alcohol inks, and it creates this really nice rusted look. I went around a lot of the elements on the page and created some shadows in the background and these really nice dark edges. Then I went around the whole area on the edges and created a very nice dark effect on the borders. So you see here that although this wasn't my plan at all, it really came so naturally, and it created this amazing page that I really didn't even expect to create. I also used this color to create some darker splatters in the background. I took some metal pieces. These are Prima words that come from a set. It's called Dream Road This Way, because this is all about dreams. And then I took two written word stickers from the 7 Dot Studio Dreamscape collection, and this one says, "Follow your dreams, they know the way." I cut up the stickers and stuck 1 or 2 words in each one of those bubble looking ripped up areas, which really came out, for me they look like kind of bubbles that are dripping down, or a ripped wall. I really don't know, I just really like the effect that came out of it, and I thought it was perfect because I've been following my dreams, or I'm trying to follow my dreams and really follow what my heart says and find a way to kind of create something that is for myself. I really can't stop saying how much I encourage everyone to really try and experiment and just continue to create, even though it's not something that you know how to do. Maybe it's not your specialty, but just experiment. Get yourself an art journal and just experiment with the different mediums. There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to make mistakes. All it is just having fun and trying and creating something that is from the heart, and that's really important for everyone. Here I took some of the 3D gel again, and then I stuck the metal words, and then I took some of the leftover, and with my finger, which somebody told me not to do, but I'm really bad at this and I always use my finger for everything, I actually went and just sealed the words into the background and some of the other stickers that had not been sealed before. It's really important to seal things into the background so they don't get stuck to each other or come off the page. And I appreciate somebody actually gave me the tip to not use my fingers because of the germs and it could get dirty, but I really feel like I can't help myself and I just dip my fingers in it all the time, so sorry about that. I took some of the alcohol inks, and also because of these metal pieces, because they were metal, I was able to stain them a little bit and make them match the rest of the page. So that's what I just did. I just dripped a little bit of the alcohol ink and then just stained them that way. Then I took Faber-Castell Design Memory Craft Stamper's Big Brush Pen in the brown color, and I just went around and highlighted around all the words and also around some of the stickers in all the areas of my page. I felt like I also needed to add a little bit of journaling to this page because I had my head all the time this song that says, follow your heart, your intuition, it will lead you in the right direction. And I kept on singing that song all the time, and I had to write that into my journal because I really felt that this page was led by something else. It wasn't kind of designed by me. I mean, it was, but I felt like my intuition took me in that direction, and I just knew that I had to follow my heart and my intuition for that. I felt like I needed to add a couple more embellishments, and I took these chipboard pieces, which are part of the collection from the Dreamscapes collection, and I went and stained them with the dark Teakwood alcohol ink, and then I glued them to the page. I felt they added the perfect last embellishment to this page because it gave movement and gave direction to where I wanted it to go. Finally, to add some light to my background, I took the Crafter's Workshop white gesso, which is liquidy enough to create these really nice splatters, and then I took a paintbrush and splattered it using a pencil. The pencil was just to push the splatters down, and it created these really cool splatters. Not only did it create little splatters, but it also created splattered lines, and it was perfect because it gave an enhanced movement to the page. And again, I didn't plan this. This was just something that happened. I thought I was gonna get regular circular splatters, and it ended up creating these really cool splatters that I wasn't expecting, which was, as you see, the theme to this page and to what I should expect from my art. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, it's one of my favorite pages that ever turned out, and that was without any planning, as I just followed what the page led me to and what my heart led me to create. And I really love those burnt edges. Those are my favorite, and all the distressed, rusted areas that I did. If you like this video, please share it with your friends and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!